This is a video of a high school girl sprinter, Viviana, demonstrating a block start. In this case, you'll see that her neck and her spine are neutral, and as a result, her vision will be directly down at the track. We coach our sprinters to never look down the track, but to keep the neck and spine in one line in a neutral alignment. Her hands will be beneath her shoulders, her arms are straight, her elbows are to the rear. Her front knee is near her forearm, and her rear knee is on the ground about a half distance between her front knee and her front heel. As she rises to the set position, you will see that her hips are now going to rise to a position above her shoulders. The front knee will be bent at an angle of approximately 90 degrees. In this case, you'll see she's about 100 degrees or so. The rear knee is bent at an angle a little bit greater than that. Usually it's about 120 degrees or so. If you drew a line from her front ankle through in a straight line, it should go right through her shoulders, as you can see here, through her shin, as you can see. That angle of that line should be approximately 40 degrees or so relative to the track. In this case, we'd say it's probably around 38 degrees. So what we want is for the optimal angle of projection to be approximately 45 degrees out of the blocks. So from here, the athlete will react to the gun. They will not try to catch the gun because the start is only 1%, and I'm talking about the start reaction to the gun is only 1% of the race. Block clearance is about 5 or 6%. So in this case, we'd rather that they hear the gun, respond, and focus on driving that front block back as hard as they possibly can. We also want to be sure that they advance the hip forward as they drive the blocks. What you'll see sometimes with certain athletes is they'll move the feet, but the hips won't advance. As you'll see with Viviana, as she hears the gun and she responds to it, as soon as she presses back on the block, you see there's a lot of pressure on the block with that front foot, and her hips are advancing forward. Watch the block. You see a lot of pressure, front and rear block, and her hips are advancing forward, which is what we want. As she drives from there, you'll see there's going to be a full, strong drive, and her body is moving directly forward, and there should be a straight line from her shoulders, through her hips, to her knee, through her ankle. We call that triple extension. From there, as she takes her first step, what we want to see the athlete do is make a low heel recovery. We do not want to try to bring the feet up to try to be quick, because at this point you're spending more time on the ground, so it's more important to use more power. So in this case, what I'd like to see the athlete do is to recover that back foot lower than the level of that front knee, as you can see in this case. So do not try to bring the heel up underneath the butt too soon, but get that foot back on the ground. Now from that position, what we're also looking for is for the athlete to try their best to position the foot behind the knee. In this case, as you can see. Right here, Vivi, as she begins to really start driving into the ground, when she makes first contact with the ground, you see that her foot is hitting the ground at about 47 degrees. That's almost an optimal angle of projection, which is the direction that her body's going to respond and go, which is what we want. So if the athlete, as they start moving forward, when they reach full weight support, we like to see the knees almost completely close together. As she begins to drive even further to the next stride, we like to see a big leg split, as you can see. From here, the first move out, we like to have a big leg split of greater than 90 degrees. As you can see, she's probably over 100 degrees here on the first step. And then moving to the second step, you'll see she's even driving even harder. So for the second step, look where she is now. Now she's probably closer to about 110 or so. So she's driving even harder. So what we also want to see in this case is that the athlete will have a big arm split, and the humerus bones will pretty much be parallel. So it's critically important that the athlete not try to be quick, but they try to be powerful. You're spending more time on the ground, so it's more important to be powerful and drive down and back. The way we cue the athlete is to drive from the head down. Push from the head down, big strides, big push, down and back, and the athlete will displace more to the front, and they will cover more distance. And as the athlete begins to run faster, of course the heels will raise up higher, and then we get to a more efficient upward running maximal speed position.